Good morning. Hope everybody out there is having a great Saturday so far. My name's KCR Belsky, and Thursday night football, the NFL finally returned. It looked a little different, it felt a little different, but it's back all the same. And my team, if you're watching this, probably your team, our Kansas City Chiefs took down the Houston Texans 34-20. It was a great game. It was weird, like I said, we'll talk about it. But it was just great to have football back and just a little bit of a sense of normalcy. Lots of stuff to talk about. Some really good rookie performances on the Chiefs side. I talked to my friend Austin. He was at the game. He was one of the 16,000 plus that was there. I just talked to him for a minute about the experience and what it was like. It's a lot different this year. And I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, there was some controversy with the whole booing thing and what happened there, and I've got some thoughts on it that I want to get across. So without any more bullshit, looking over at the stats here, Patrick Mahomes on the night, Thursday, 24 for 32, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. It just felt pedestrian. And how blessed are we, and how weird is it that that feels like a pedestrian game? No one was talking about Mahomes after that game, and still, that's a game where you would take that, almost any team would take that 10 times out of 10 for their quarterback. The real story on the Chiefs offense was obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 25 carries, 138 yards and a touchdown, and he could have had more touchdowns. He got stopped at the goal line a couple times. Hopefully we can work that out, and he'll get some more touchdowns in the future. But great first game for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Sammy Watkins, 7 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, the Texans came out with a lot of zone defense, and the Chiefs are used to seeing man against them. A lot of too high safeties. They took Tyreek Hill out of the game, but the thing is with the Chiefs, there's so many guys. The offense isn't guardable. You're not going to be able to stop everybody. Sammy Watkins, 7 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown. And if you watch the game, there was a lot of passes that were dropped. There were a lot of times that Mahomes and Watkins weren't on the same page, and that can easily be credited to the lack of a training camp, the lack of a preseason, stuff like that. It's going to take him a little longer on all teams, and the Chiefs, like I've been saying for the longest now, the Chiefs have that advantage of having everybody there and having these systems and these coaches in place for so long that hopefully they're not going to deal with it as severely as some other teams are in the league. And then L'Jarius Sneed, the rookie, with his first career interception. He had a great game on defense. We'll talk more about all the rookies. Over on the Texans side, Deshaun Watson, 20 for 32, 253 yards, 1 touchdown in that interception we were talking about. David Johnson, who the Texans acquired from Arizona in return for DeAndre Hopkins in that big trade in the offseason, had himself a game. 11 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad for him either. You put him with Duke Johnson on that team, and they still got some weapons. Brandon Cooks only had, I think, 2 catches, 20 yards. Will Fuller, the best performing receiver for the Texans, 8 receptions, 112 yards. And then Akins had 2 catches, 39 yards, and that touchdown. The game starts off, both teams trade punts. Finally, the Texans go on a 9-play, 80-yard drive capped off by a David Johnson 19-yard touchdown run, and they take the lead. And then, as you can see, the Chiefs put up 31 unanswered between then and the fourth quarter. Travis Kelce with a 6-yard touchdown pass to put the Chiefs on the board. That capped off an 11-play, 75-yard drive. Then with 2 minutes to go, Sammy Watkins catches a 2-yard pass on the little wide receiver screen from Mahomes, puts the Chiefs up 14-7. And then the Chiefs get the ball back with 25 seconds to go 48 yards in 4 plays, and kick a field goal. They lead 17-7 at half. Come out in the second half, Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets the 27-yard run to cap off a 7-play, 75-yard, and all of a sudden the Chiefs are up 24-7. Early in the fourth quarter, Tyreek Hill gets on the board finally with a 3-yard pass from Mahomes. That puts the Chiefs up 31-7. Texans with a couple, I wouldn't say garbage time touchdowns, but the game was over. And even with these 2 touchdowns, the game was over. Jordan Akins gets that 19-yard pass from Watson with about 7:15 to go in the game. And then Deshaun Watson with the 1-yard touchdown run with 2:38 remaining. Texans tried an onside kick. It wasn't even close. Chiefs easily recovered. Run down the field, take time off the clock, and Harrison Butker kicks a field goal to make it 34-20 final score with about 30 seconds left on the clock. Now, when I was watching post-game and reactions and stuff on ESPN and on all the sports channels today, I heard a couple different people say that it looked like a preseason game. And I wouldn't go as far to say that. I think that it looked pretty good, given the circumstances, given everything that went on in this offseason. I think it looked pretty good. Like I already said, there were some plays with Patrick Mahomes and Sammy Watkins where they weren't on the same page. They ran the wrong routes. Maybe Mahomes expected Mahomes expects Watkins to cut one way and he goes the other, and that's stuff that's going to get worked out. But I honestly thought the game, as far as penalties and just the sloppiness, I thought it looked way better than I personally expected. So I thought that was a nice surprise. And Like I said, I was very confident. I'm still very confident about the Chiefs this season with all of this stuff going on, returning as many people as they are. Now you add in the performance of these rookies so far. I just think that I was disappointed that the Chiefs only won by 14. I think that they let their foot off the gas a little bit at the end, gave those 2 touchdowns up. I was saying Chiefs by 30. We were on pace. We were on pace too. But now I'm just getting arrogant. I apologize. The Texans are a really good team, and they showed that. I think they still have enough weapons for Deshaun Watson. I did say Brandon Cooks only 2 catches, 20 yards, but they've got a lot of weapons there, and I think the Texans will be fine. And the Texans' limitations come from the coaching staff / front office more so than the talent they have on the field. And I already went over a lot of these guys, but I wanted to shout out some of the Chiefs rookies. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, obviously, number 1A, 25 carries, 138 yards and a touchdown. He looked really good out there. And like I said, there were a lot of points left on the board where he got stuffed around the goal line on some short yardage situations, and given it being his first game, I think not too worried about that yet. He's a small running back as far as stature, but he's strong, and I think he's going to be a workhorse, and I think he's going to do good things this year. Darrell Williams also had significant playing time, and he played pretty well. Darwin Thompson, who I was so high on last year, virtually, I don't know if we saw him one time, so we'll see how that goes. But it seems like Darrell Williams definitely the number 2 running back on the team behind Edwards-Helaire, who had a lot of success. Chiefs, for the first time since drafting Patrick Mahomes, had more running plays than passing plays. And Patrick Mahomes had a career high 16-play drive to I think it was the first touchdown, right? I'm not sure exactly which touchdown it was, but the Texans came out and they changed their defense. They had played a lot of man in the past, and that's what Mahomes had said. They came out in a lot of zone coverage. They played too high. They took Tyreek Hill out of the game. They weren't going to let anything happen over the top. And I think that's why also, when you look, Mecole Hardman, I don't think really had a whole lot going on either, that same type of fast receiver. But what did the Chiefs do? They ran the ball. They checked into run plays. They threw short passes. I think I saw on ESPN that Mahomes, it was like 2.3 seconds from snap to pass, which was the lowest in his career. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I saw an ESPN stat with, a graphic, new look Chiefs offense. I don't think it's a new look Chiefs offense. I think it's just the Chiefs offense can beat you in any way. And they've showed that. We're used to seeing Mahomes go out there and throw for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns. But when teams go all out to stop that, the Chiefs now have a running back. They've got fast receivers. They've got a tight end. They can beat you in the same way they did in 2013 with Alex Smith. But they can also beat you the way they did last year with Mahomes. They can do whatever, and that's going to be really fun to watch as a Chiefs fan. If you're not a Chiefs fan, I'm sorry, because it might be a little rough for y'all over the next 12, 14, 16 years. Anyways, on the defensive side, the L'Jarius Sneed with the interception, he had 3 solo tackles, 2 passes defended. I believe, if I looked up the stats right, and I don't have it in front of me, I think he only allowed 2 catches for 19 yards. So they picked on him a lot, too. If you were watching the game, they were throwing his way. So L'Jarius Sneed came out and played amazing. Brashad Breeland, obviously, with a 4-game suspension for the whole gas station incident. Like, smoke your weed at home, guys. Just smoke your weed at home. Have someone else go to the gas station for you. You got so much money, man. But it's okay. It's all right. We'll see him in 4 weeks, and I respect it. I respect the recreational activities. On the special teams side of things, Tommy Townsend had 3 punts. That's about what you want. Maybe 1 too many as a Chiefs fan. We don't want to see Tommy Townsend on the field except for holding extra points. He had a 50-yard long. He did have 1 downed inside the 20, and I think he had another go out for a touchback that was pretty close to being down. So solid performance for him. Great holds on all the kicks. No issues there. Like I said, if you're a Chiefs fan, you've become accustomed to seeing Dustin Colquitt out there. I could not name, I think the puncher was like Baker before Colquitt. I don't know. I couldn't name you a single other Chiefs punter that I've ever seen not named Dustin Colquitt. So shout out to Tommy Townsend. Hopefully he has a long and successful career in Kansas City as well. And the last guy, Willie Gay, only 1 tackle. I don't even know if it was a defensive tackle or a special teams tackle, but he didn't have as much playing time, I guess, as I expected. I was really high on him, and with linebackers, middle linebackers being one of the weaknesses on the Chiefs' defense in the last couple years, I figured he would have more playing time. And I don't know, I haven't really gone back and watched. Like I said, I was partying. I was pretty turnt during the game myself, so I'm gonna have to go out and watch the full game again and really see some of these guys and see what they did. We'll have all of our games, the Sunday games, and then 2 Monday Night Football games during Week 1. But next week, the Chiefs play in L.A. for the Chargers. Houston returns home, and they take on Baltimore. So, that's a great game. Baltimore, Houston, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. Chiefs facing Tyrod Taylor-led Chargers now. So, I think the Chiefs easily get a win. And with Baltimore coming to town, that's a rough start to the season for Houston. Those poor guys. NFL did not do them any favors with the 2 best teams in the AFC coming there. So Houston in danger of going 0-2 to start the year, which would make things a little interesting. But I think they're easily going to make the playoffs, though. I don't think they'll have any issues with that. All right, next up, I talked with my bud Austin tonight. He was at the Chiefs game on Thursday, and I was really interested to see. Obviously, it looked a little different on the broadcast, and he was at the game. I wanted to see what the atmosphere was like, what the mood was, how strict everything was as far as social distancing and stuff like that. So he sat down with me and talked with me for a second and kind of let me know what was up, and I want to play that with you. I appreciate you coming on again, Austin, and let's take a look at what he had to say. All right, it's Belsky here with my good friend Austin. What's up, man?
How we doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for sitting down. I know you're probably feeling it after the game last night.
For sure.
I wasn't there, but I'm feeling it a little bit too, so appreciate you taking a minute after work to talk. And I just wanted to talk to somebody tonight who was at the game and who experienced it. I really wanted to go, but it just didn't end up happening for me. And I really wanted to see from someone who was out at the game what the experience was like in something like this. A game that's so important and a game where, we raise the banner and are supposed to be celebrating this Super Bowl, and unfortunately only 16,000 people can be there, and everything in this offseason. So what was it like? I mean, being there, 16,000, was it a different atmosphere?
For sure, a different atmosphere. Obviously, it was great to be back. First game back after we won the Super Bowl. It was an amazing experience to be there, but for sure way different. From the start, pulling in the parking lot, you immediately see that they have cones on every other parking spot as you pull in every lot. And then, of course, I didn't have to use as many parking lots since there's not as many people. And you can only park every other parking spot. And then tailgating normal, you can only tailgate behind your car.
Were they enforcing that a lot? Were they coming by quite
actually,
a bit?
When we were pulling in to the parking lot, someone just tried to, hop a curb and park where they wanted to park, and immediately the police in a go-kart or a golf cart pulled up and got on the speaker and said, "You guys need to get out and follow the line," and immediately kicked them out. So they were for sure pretty strict in the parking lot. And then it was a great experience there. And then in the game, you had to go in a specific gate. We actually went to the wrong gate, and the tickets don't even scan at those gates. So you actually had to go to your right gate. So we walked around to there. So you were stuck locked in your own zone. You couldn't go you couldn't make a full lap around the stadium. You had to stay in your zone.
Oh wow! So
they had it up. It was pretty good. It was pretty good though. You had everything you needed, in your zone. You didn't have to go to another one.
Nice.
And so then in the seats, they had your seats, that you bought, and everyone got a mask. I should have brought it.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Were they pretty strict on the mask too? If they walked by and saw you, no masks.
Yeah, there was how there's usually beer vendors walking around, which they didn't have any beer vendors because it's card only, no cash.
Nice.
So instead, there people walking around had signs saying "Keep your mask on." It was what the sign said. So and they were. We honestly got told a few times, they were put your mask on, put your mask on, But so they were pretty strict about it, which that's a good thing.
Yeah. I know you said it was a little bit more chill atmosphere. What I noticed during the game, like I said, I was partying, drinking a little bit too, but it reminded me of a 2012 Chiefs game where there's barely anybody left, and it's of course we're dominating the game for the most part. They made it close at the end, but when you're watching it on the broadcast, it really truly looked like a game where the team is 4-12 out of the playoffs, and there's just those diehard fans chilling. And
absolutely, you could tell it was the diehards. You could tell everyone was just happy to be back, happy to be there. Real chill atmosphere. Obviously, it's Arrowhead. We get rowdy,
right?
But still, overall, way different experience.
And I assume they didn't pipe in since they have 16,000 there. Did they? I guess you can't
really
tell.
We were trying when we were actually setting up our tailgate, we could hear them kind of practicing it on the speakers, so we thought it would. But once you're inside, it was so hard to tell, with on top of the fans. But I'm pretty sure they were pumping
so that makes
noise.
Sense. Yeah. So awesome. Well, great game. Those rookies, great show out. Even down to the punter, Tommy Townsend. You got L'Jarius Sneed with a pick, Edwards-Helaire with 138 yards and a tutty.
Great game.
So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully we
Thanks
can
for
get to a
having
game together at some point this year. And, appreciate it. Have a good night, bro.
For sure. Go Chiefs.
So there you have it. Thanks again, Austin, for coming on. I appreciate giving that insight to what it was like out at Arrowhead. So I commend the Chiefs. It sounds like they did a really good job. They are extremely strict. They've got a lot of things in place to make sure that they can limit the spread of this and hopefully prevent it from happening and also get people in there. I know a lot of teams in the league are not doing fans at all, and the Chiefs have already come out and said they're doing this for fan experience and not because of the money. And I think that's I think that's fair. This team hasn't won a Super Bowl in 50 years, and for it to be, I wanted to go so bad to this game, and I was going to pay a lot of money to go in February when I knew that we were going to be raising the banner and stuff, and with everything that happens, it's a lot more difficult to do that. And the Chiefs, I think that they did a good job in letting people, at least a few people, get in and experience that in person. Those type of things like that, things like the parade, those are things that could very well be once in a lifetime. You never know when that's going to happen again. So it's good that a few people at least were able to get in. I'm extremely jealous that I wasn't one of them, but we still got to see it on social media. We got to see it. They had a separate banner ceremony and a ring ceremony and all that stuff that was broadcasted. So we were able to see it all, but props to the Chiefs. I think they're doing as much as they can, and they're doing they're handling it as well as they can given the circumstances of being defending Super Bowl champions. And then there's one last thing I want to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff this morning. It seemed like as big a headline as the game itself was the apparent boos happening during this display of unity the Chiefs and Texans displayed and demonstrated prior to the game. The Chiefs obviously stayed on the field and locked arms during the Lift Every Voice and Sing and the national anthem. The Texans decided to stay off the field altogether for both. They didn't stay on for one and off for the other. They decided to stay until that was over. As the Texans came on the field after both of those, they all locked arms in the middle of the field to display that show of unity. And on the broadcast, I'll be honest, I was drinking for sure, but on that broadcast, it really sounded like a lot of loud boos. And it's just, it's kind of weird to me, man, because looking back and today, I've seen a lot of videos at the stadium, and it didn't seem nearly as loud. First of all, at the stadium, I know it was different equipment. It's a phone camera compared to this broadcast, but I don't know. There seemed to be some Chiefs in the mix. There seemed to be some boos as the Texans came on the field, but I'm not going to sit here in front like in a city like Kansas City, there weren't people booing that display of unity. And it's sad because I love Kansas City and I want to defend this city, but I also know, unfortunately, that there's a lot of people that still don't give a shit. They at this point, if you don't hear what they're doing, they didn't protest Ergen Anthem. They didn't protest anything else. And as far as I know, please comment and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is something that I heard the Chiefs and Texans got together and decided to do this. Did they not? This wasn't something the NFL made the Chiefs and Texans do. This isn't something like the whole situation where the MLB was trying to get people to like suggesting it and looking for good publicity. The Chiefs and Texans, if I'm not wrong, they decided between the two teams, the players on the teams decided that they wanted to do that. And as professional athletes, they've earned that right to use that platform because that's their platform. They can do whatever they want with it. And I commend them, and I think that's awesome that they're doing that. And at this point, if you're booing that specific thing last night, then you don't want to hear what they're asking for. You don't want to hear the change that they want. You don't care, and that's what's sad. And that's what I think a lot of people need to take a step back and look at themselves. You don't have to agree, but if you're booing that stuff, you're not even trying to listen. You're not even trying to understand, and that's what's bullshit. It's sad, and I'm not going to front like there weren't people there that were booing that, because I promise there were. I don't think it was as bad as the broadcast made it sound, because it was so distinct and so loud at that very moment on the NBC broadcast that it just doesn't seem as bad as it was. And you know how the media fucking exaggerates and blows everything out of proportion on both sides. All I'm saying, at this point, in my opinion, athletes have absolutely earned their right to be activists for whatever they want to be activists for. And you don't have to like it. Like I said, if people want to boo, unfortunately, that's their right. It's not a good look, and you're going to be on the wrong side of history looking back. But it was a little disappointing to hear that at that stadium. That's all I have to say. I saw it put pretty well on Twitter today regarding the whole subject. You can build 100 houses, and you can fuck one goat, but nobody's going to call you a home builder. It's unfortunate that a vocal minority will give a city a bad look and a black eye for a few days. But I know that there is good change happening in the city, and I see it. And there's people that I personally know that are leading it, and I'm trying to educate myself on a daily basis. And I think a lot of people, I hope everybody's doing the same thing and seeing what you can do to help. And this city, I love this city, like I just said, but I'm not going to front like there's not a lot of hate still in this city. And like the city doesn't have a history of a lot of stuff. As far as segregation, as far as discrimination, and we can talk about J.C. Nichols, but this is a sports podcast. I don't want to get real deep into all that, but this is a great time if you haven't been on board to be a part of a positive change and be a part of a more inclusive society that's safe for everybody and that's equal opportunity for everybody. And I don't understand why anybody would be opposed to that, but I think the city's a great city, and I don't think that's a very accurate look. Yeah, at least what the media was doing today. It was pretty ridiculous. That's just about all I got for tonight, though. It's a great game on Thursday. Chiefs 1-0, 18 to go, baby. Run it back tour part 2. On Sunday, we've got some good games coming up. New York, Buffalo, Bears, Lions, Packers, Vikings, Dolphins, Patriots. My personal favorite game I'm going to be watching, Bucks Saints at 3:25. You got Dallas Rams at 7:20 on Sunday Night Football, and then you got Steelers Giants, Titans Broncos on the Monday night doubleheader. So me and Alec will be back after all these games on Tuesday. We'll get you caught up on everything that happened, and we'll go from there. And let me know how you feel. Comments on what you think of what I had to say and what you thought. If you were at the game, let me know how it was and how you feel like the Chiefs and Texans look and what their outlook is for the rest of the season now. I appreciate everybody watching, and thank you. Have a wonderful Saturday.